Hey, hello everyone.
Welcome back, guys.
Thank you
Woo.
for joining us tonight for another episode of Within the Cauldron, where secrets and mysteries lies within. Tonight we have a couple of friends here. This is first part of a three-part session that we are doing on cryptids. Tonight's main guest is Jeff from Old Line Cryptids YouTube channel, and it's down below going across the screen. Please check them out, subscribe to them as well. And now we have also a special co-host, Corissa Grant, who is going to talk about cryptids too as well. So welcome everybody.
I see she's got one there with her.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
I know.
He's like 3 feet tall.
I want to hug it.
Yeah.
I've got mine back here.
Well, he's part of my line of cryptids that I sell because I also have like the Mothman and I have the Wendigo. So
Oh my god, I'm
Yeah,
jealous.
I'm not running into one of those.
I also have the squonk because I love squonk.
The squonks are good.
I'm jealous. I want them. I need to ask my husband if I can buy some.
Yeah, I'm actually starting a cryptid subscription of the month that will have like you can choose between you get a different metal pin every month from a different cryptid. I have magnets, postcards, and I have plushies. I have 3D statues.
Oh my gosh!
Like this is the Wendigo. But yeah, so we have all that cool stuff. But I'm working on that because it's a lot of work. But I'm getting like 6 months ahead with everything, so I'm probably gonna start that next month. So
Right on.
Cool. And the only thing I have is a Winnie the Pooh collection.
well,
my
collection isn't cryptids; it's Donald Duck, which is over 4,000 items. I technically have the world record because the world record's 28. But I've been too lazy to count them all. So yeah.
Well, those are my cryptids, Disney characters. So Jeff, I think Nick's going to start out with the first question for you.
Right.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what a cryptid is? Some of our audience members may not be familiar with what they are.
So, a cryptid's classified as anything that's not known to science. Well, not recognized by science. Let's put it that way. That's pretty much the all that I know as far as descriptions go. But I mean, there's all sorts of different ones.
Oh yeah,
everybody's favorite Bigfoot, which is how I got into this, and Mothman, the Jersey Devil, the Wendigo, Skinwalkers. Don't say that word; we'll get in trouble. But there's the Loch Ness Monster. We actually have something in Maryland that, well, I don't know when the last time it was sighted, but the Snallygaster, which basically...
I have that in my book, too. That's a weird one.
Yeah, pterodactyl dragon. I don't know what it is, but I got to do some research on that because we're going to at some point do a night on that. But
oh, cool.
Yeah, the weird thing about the Snallygaster is it looks like a thunderbird that was eating an octopus.
Basically,
yes. So like I'm convinced it was a giant, thunderbird that was just eating an octopus. But yeah,
I'm thinking maybe it was a pterodactyl somebody misidentified. I don't know.
Well, it's weird because it's generally shown as one eye. So like, I don't know if it just the way it looked because it was fast or too far.
Maybe it was disfigured. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a definitely unique one.
Oh my goodness! How long have you been on YouTube, Jeff?
So we just started back around this time last year.
Cool.
And I had reached out to. I've always been into Bigfoot. That's always since I was a kid. But I always thought, he's across the way in the Pacific Northwest, and there's one of them or something running around out there. But when I was 17, I encountered one. I didn't see it, but after the years of looking into it, I finally figured out what it was I ran into. But I got screamed at one in the dark, which is the worst time for anything like that to happen. And
Yeah.
I had the world's most pathetic flashlight, so that was another addition to that cluster. But we got ran out of the woods, and I've tried to explain the volume that this thing put off when it yelled at us.
I'm an
It
Italian,
sounds-
so it probably is like that.
It's like you're in front of a train horn,
Ooh.
basically. I mean, when something can scream at you and make, every bone in your body vibrate and rattle your internal organs, that's not normal.
No, it's not.
Did it sound more like a threatening or a warning call, or just, in your opinion, what did it sound like?
I think it was telling me to get the hell out of its living room. That's what it was telling me to do. It was like I walked in there and caught him with his pants down or something. I don't know what I did.
Oh, wow.
But we were working on a deer stand, and it was October, and we were late getting in there to fix it, and we weren't even using power tools, just had a handsaw and a flashlight. And I guess it didn't like us messing around in there. But I had a tractor running on the edge of the field, so that might have had something to do with it.
Fair.
But we didn't waste any time getting out of there. I mean, the first time it yelled at us, it was 100 yards away. The second time, it had closed the gap in about less than 60 seconds to 40 yards. And that was when we decided it was time to leave.
Oh, wow.
Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
longer than I would have.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Tractors will go airborne if you can hit the right gear. In case you're wondering.
Good to know.
Jeff, what is your favorite cryptid?
I probably have to say it's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. That seems like a lot of people's favorite. How about you, Corissa?
I'm going to say the squonk because I can totally relate. For anyone that doesn't know the squonk, all he literally does is sits in the forest and cries about how ugly he is. That's about it. And if he gets so depressed, he'll just cry himself into a puddle and then reform later. So
is that the Eeyore version of a cryptid?
That is exactly what he is. That's literally that's his only function. And I only learned about him when I was researching for the comics. So when we saw
I've never heard of that one. That's weird.
So mine's cuter. This is like, they look like a little pig, but mine's a lot cuter than he is. What they generally you could picture is, if you know a Shar-Pei dog, it's like a mix between a Shar-Pei dog and a pig, and just kind of put them together.
But yeah,
I think he's adorable, and he unintentionally became a main character in the story starting in issue 5, and he just follows my character around and cries. And the second character hates him, so he always threatens to shoot him. But I think he's absolutely adorable. So,
oh my goodness. Gee.
Mine
Back over to you, Nick.
I think my favorite's probably the catawampus. It's essentially like a cougar centaur. It's like a six-legged cougar.
Yeah, he's in my story too. He's pretty much, he is just a six-legged cougar. Like, it's really
I mean, that's like its whole thing. Is like it's just a six-legged cat.
Yeah.
Well, I think mine is, gosh, I have several. I think right now I'm kind of interested in Dogman.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I watched a couple of movies on Dogman, and I don't know, just kind of fascination me, So it's like werewolves and dogmen, what's the difference?
Yeah, I actually have them at.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
No, there's actually
We've got
quite a
reports
difference.
of them around here.
Yeah. A major difference, dogmen are not necessarily bad, whereas, I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not saying I'm going to go pet it, but they're known to be territorial more than anything, and they don't like unnatural things. In my comic, they actually are at war with werewolves because they don't think werewolves are natural because they're cursed. But yeah, I really do like the interest, and I don't know if this one's like one of the facts was they think it's only in the 7th year, but I don't know if that's true or just people just happen to see it and it happened to be a 7, like 27 or whatever. But that's not confirmed or that would kind of lead to when you see it, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
Well, there's a lot out there then.
Oh yeah,
there's way more than I thought. There's 30 alone in my story, and some of them I have never even heard of, and I can't even pronounce half of them. Like there's one, and I'm going to say it wrong. It's like Tanzel Whirl, and it looks like a dragon cat. It looks like a Chinese dragon with a cat face, and it has like toxic breath, and it hisses at you like.
Yeah, the Tatzelvum.
There you go. Yeah. That one I thought was pretty cool, and I had that added in, and then I was like, well, now I need a plushie for that. So my plushie maker's working on it because I was like, I need a plushie of that. I mean, come on.
It sounds like gibberish I start spouting after I've had too much bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've never heard anyone say it out loud, so I've only seen it written. So I'm like, I'm dyslexic, and this is not going to sound right. But,
yeah, it's German mountain serpent dragon.
There you go. Yeah, that sounds all right. It looks pretty cool.
They're super adorable.
Yeah. So I like it. He fights the Jersey Devil, but in my story, because it's the Old West, we have to call it the Leeds Devil. So,
oh wow,
it wasn't named the Jersey Devil until the 1900s.
Yeah, it was called the Leeds Devil for years.
Yeah, which is cool. So, but I have to tell everyone that because they'll be like, "What the heck is a Leeds, dude?" I'm like, "It's
they go back into the lore of it."
Yeah.
But that goes on to our next question. Have you ever seen a cryptid?
So, I technically no. I've caught glimpses of stuff that could have been, but I've had enough close encounters, vocals, mimics.
Mm-hmm.
I found tracks. One of the most interesting things last year when I'm actually going there next month, there's an area up here in Western Maryland. I'm in the northern section, but Western Maryland hits PA and West Virginia, and it's in an area called Green Ridges, which is in Allegheny, and I found a trackway there last
I've been
year.
there. Allegheny, that's Allegheny Park? There's an
Allegheny County. It's Green Ridge. It's a state park up there.
I think we've been there too.
I think I camped there, yeah.
Probably.
Very beautiful area. Very beautiful area.
And some people get Allegheny, Maryland, and Allegheny, Pennsylvania confused sometimes too. So it's
that's probably it. Never mind. It's probably that.
It might be Allegheny, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's in fact, another friend of ours has got a podcast, Mary Fabian from PA Bigfoot Project. They do a lot of research up around that area. So Allegheny, PA is active too.
Is that by Gettysburg or?
So no,
who's coming back from Gettysburg?
Micho is the one that's above Gettysburg.
Okay, because it was coming back from Gettysburg, going to the southern area of Pennsylvania, but to the northern area of Maryland and West Virginia there.
That's on the PA border with Maryland. You're probably thinking Somerset. I think it might have
been. I've been there a couple of times, but
I've been all over the place. But don't ever ask me to tell you where anything is because I'm terrible a lot of directions. But I'm actually going up above Gettysburg next after we go to Western Maryland to camp out with the PA Bigfoot Project. So we'll be checking out some stuff up there. But back to Western Maryland, that trackway was probably at least, I mean, the stride's 5 foot at least, and 18 inches probably as far as the track goes. I got terrible pictures of it because the ground was dry and did not have enough battery left on my phone to take any more pictures because my solar charger decided not to work.
It was yelling at you like, I'll show you not working.
Yeah. I was just going to say the same thing.
That was my ex-wife. We'll turn this off. I'll just pretend I'm asleep.
We're not saying anything. You're safe with us. We won't tell on you.
Well, she doesn't know that I do this, so
okay. Then you're safe.
She won't figure it out. All right. Phone is off now. There we go.
So that kind of goes into the next question I have is, how many years have you been hunting cryptids?
Well, I never really started hunting them. I just kind of run into them. I've never gone out looking for one. They just seem to come looking for me for some reason.
Maybe they're hunting you.
Well, I don't think it's they're hunting me. I just think that for a lot of us that are into this have come to the conclusion that we must be marked or something because they have a tendency to come towards certain people and avoid others. And I don't know what that is, but I can usually tell when something's around. Like that weekend we were camping, I had something right outside the tent within probably 20 yards of me, mimicking my friend next to me snoring. And we're in hammocks, hanging in the trees, and I'm facing this way. He's over here facing that way, and the other one's facing that way. Well, I start hearing him snoring, but it's coming from in front of me. And I'm thinking, how's that happening? Because he's over there. And he keeps doing it. Every time he would snore, it would snore.
Could be a Wendigo. They like to mimic a lot.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of those, and I'm glad it wasn't because I wasn't ready for that. But I think it must have heard me because at that point I started trying to reach around for my headlamp so I could unzip the hammock and kind of see what was going on out there. But it stopped doing that as soon as I went to unzip the fly, and then it took off. I never heard it leave, but they can be quiet. The one that came in on me the first time, we never heard it. From the time it was 100 yards to 40, it was nothing. You couldn't even... It's almost like it teleported itself over there. That's how fast it was.
Dang.
Wow.
You think about deer, though. How many times have you been in the woods and heard nothing? Next thing you know, there's a deer right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Or maybe a not deer.
Or not a deer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a deer than something else. I don't
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
There have been times I've had deer make so much noise coming through the woods, I thought something was charging at me. So, and that's not fun when you're bow hunting from a tree stand. It's only 10 foot off of the ground.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Fortunately, it was just a spike, but I almost had a brown pants moment there. But no, there's There's other stuff. I mean, I've experienced rock throwing in the river at night, fishing, that kind of stuff. I have had encounters with what I'm pretty sure is a Dogman.
Where was that?
West Virginia. That's the reason I won't go back to that section of the state ever again.
You know,
At least I won't go hunting in there. Let's just put it that way.
that is one of our questions that I might as well just get it out there.
Yeah.
You know, because I heard that West Virginia has a lot of cryptids.
I've never really researched a whole lot on the history of West Virginia, but I do know that there's a lot of creepy stuff in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, I'm trying to think. Good Lord. There is a lot of different stuff in West Virginia. I mean, there's everything from Bigfoot, Dogman. I've heard people talk about Lizard Man, which I'm not really sure what I think about that, but I don't know if it was there that they were talking about the sheep squatch, which is another.
Yeah.
Was it sheep squatch?
Yeah, sheep squatch is a thing. There's a hoot.
I like the bat squash.
Big
The
hoot
squatch.
too.
The bat squash. It looks like Sasquatch, but it has like bat features.
Like a winged Sasquatch.
Yeah. I just added that to my comment because I was like, that's too cool. I have to add that. I don't think he actually flies though.
We do have a comment here that maybe you guys would know. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about chupacabras.
The goat sucker?
No, not up this way. I think that's more of a southern thing.
Yeah.
It's more Texas, Mexico,
Yeah.
New Mexico.
I have to talk to some of my friends down south and see if they've ever. I've heard of one area in the Carolinas. I know a friend that used to live down there that I don't know if that's what it was, but they had something years ago it was in the Carolinas called the Beast of Bladenboro. And it was going around killing pets and livestock and draining the blood out of them. So,
yeah, and depending on your region, like they do have some in like Brazil or Mexico or whatever, but
they're kind of different depending on where you are.
Yeah, in the States it's more like a dog.
Yes.
Where over there it's more like a lizard type dog, like a reptile type dog. Yeah. Either way, I don't want to ever meet it. A lot of times though, the pictures you see of them are mostly coyotes with mange. But so we don't know if you've actually really captured one on tape, but a coyote wouldn't do to most livestock that these things do. So
wow.
Yeah, that's another weird one is chupacabra. I don't know. There's so much weird stuff we don't know. It's hard to say what's real and what's not at this point. I mean, I've even got just right because I'm literally minutes from the PA line, and right across the river over towards Lancaster County, there's a reservoir that I know a guy that said he saw a pale crawler crawling out of the reservoir, climbed over the chain link fence and was standing in the road.
No, thank
I'm actually surprised I haven't seen more. I have the Appalachian Mountains behind me, so
I'm not far from that either.
Yeah, well, I mean it's a huge area, but they're known to be like I've heard things, but I've never. The only thing I've ever seen was paranormal. So
we've got a lot of waterways here.
Wow, we just have forest.
We have a lot of mountains. We have the Smoky Mountains, Appalachian.
A lot of what we have is like, small. I mean, it's just like patches of farms and not a lot of big tracts of timber. Like, I mean, there is a state park behind us, but you get into the next county, there's a whole peninsula that's like over 7,000 acres of basically nothing but woods.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Nick,
got a dump on one side.
Nick, back to you on a question here.
Yeah. How does cryptozoology differ from traditional zoology?
Well, I'm not a scientist, but it's it, you're looking for something that isn't supposed to exist. So
Hmm.
how are you supposed to
Yeah, it's the
how are you
study
supposed to be
of.
scientific with something that the scientists don't want to admit is real?
I guess
It's like
a major difference would be zoology is something that's already studied and explained,
Yes,
whereas
very explained.
cryptology is not yet explained, but has the biology of what could be possibly zoology, which is why it's separate. Separate from paranormal, as ghosts aren't included in cryptids. But for some reason, the banshee is, which I don't get. But okay.
which is weird
That's a
because
fair description.
that's a fact.
My redneck is a little. I'm not. I'm not very scientific.
Yeah.
Why does humans, or I should say, human life, people, find cryptids so fascinating?
Ooh.
I don't know if they use it as
We
a
love the unknown.
unknown.
I guess.
Some people find it as an escape. I feel like from
I think
normal life.
I think there's a population of people that really enjoy the strange, the unusual, and the lost and forgotten,
Yeah,
and that there's something that calls the people that are into those to things like the paranormal, cryptids, and witchcraft, all of that.
Hmm. We have another comment here from William.
oh, there's William. Hey, Will.
There you go.
Study of undocumented creatures.
Yeah.
Because at one point,
Thank you for that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
William. William's a PhD. He's
And then we have another one here too.
On cryptids mutations. In some cases, others are thought to be natural, like natural creatures or supernatural creatures.
Yeah, like the buru, the one that looks like an alligator, is supposed to be a real, one that they kind of killed because they were supernatural and they put him into extinction. But I mean, where's the fine line of it being an actual creature and supernatural? I mean, just because they were there and you're saying that they were an actual creature, but that doesn't mean it wasn't supernatural to begin with.
Because at one point we thought gorillas were cryptids.
Yeah.
Because we had heard them, we had evidence of them, but nobody had seen them. And now we have video footage. We know they're real, and they're in most zoos.
Yeah. I don't think they're. I mean, I wouldn't say they were mutations because a mutation would imply that it mutated from a regular zoology creature, whereas not really. Maybe like a few. But I mean, unless you want to say Bigfoot is mutated from a gorilla, but it seems to be its own species. I mean, if you were to check its DNA, it probably would not match, a gorilla. But who knows? I never heard of it as being a mutation.
I mean, a couple of them I could see. Because you have some of them are just too supernatural and fantastical to be a mutation, but
yeah,
like the fur-bearing trout, like that could be a mutation or a fungus. Like I could see that.
Yeah. I find Will was saying that people find them fascinating because they're unknown, unusual.
Mm-hmm.
I think I fall in that category because it is unknown, and I always have that reason of why is this happening? Why is Bigfoot tall and hairy? Why is a Mothman is the way he is? And speaking of Mothman, I think now, Jeff, maybe you can help me clarify this. So years ago,
yes,
it was probably I was probably, I don't know, 17, I would say, and we had prom night. So we was in the car, just what prom nights do, drinking, smoking, doing things your parents doesn't want you to do. So, and all of a sudden we saw red eyes and it was tapping at the windshield, the back windshield, and the driver's side and the passenger side, and it kept doing that. And it was just nothing but red eyes, and the body was like kind of like a shadow of, I don't know. I always said like a bat, like. So, and then that was before I knew anything about the Mothman. So maybe he was a Mothman. What do you
Well, did
think?
it feel like it was? Did it seem like it was flying around, or did it
Yeah,
seem like?
it was fast. I mean, it was, it
One side of the
knocked,
car to the other side.
yeah,
in the blink of an eye.
it went to the front and the back, just like that, to the side, just like that. I mean, it was just like 5 seconds. It was fast. But, you know,
That's weird. I
I
mean,
didn't know
I've
what
heard
it
of
was.
some weird stuff, but I don't know if I've.
Red eyes.
I mean, I've heard of Bigfoot walking around cars, tapping on windows, and
Yeah, but wouldn't Bigfoot be kind of slow at doing it?
probably.
So,
Yeah, I've
you know,
never heard him be much for speed. He's not. I mean, he can run fast from what they say, but I don't think he would zip around like a Mothman or
Yeah.
anything.
yeah. Well, I think you would hear him stepping too. This you can hear nothing.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah, I think Bigfoot would crush stuff,
Yeah.
or you'd at least hear something of
If
him.
it tapped a window, it's probably going to shatter.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he's
the whole
taking a
tree
tree
out.
out and being like, "Hey."
It would,
It
but you
makes
know,
me wonder why something that big wouldn't just smash the window, reach in, and
yeah,
pull you out of the car.
You know what?
yeah. Well, you know, there was several of us in there too, so
Yeah.
you know, it was like, we all saw it,
Going dead.
and the battery was going dead. The radio was static, white
Yeah.
noise, like. So it was like, maybe it was an alien, but
So
I never
there's so
know.
many dark
Alien with red
figures with
eyes.
red eyes in folklore, and it's a very, very common trope. There's just so many of them.
Yeah,
Because you have
that
like
is
some
for
shadow
sure.
people that are like that. There's the Hat Man,
Uh-huh.
shadow people, Mothman. Like,
If people knew what was in the woods, they'd never go camping again.
no.
True, true. And this is what Will said. And yes, Will, we got out of there fast.
Oh yeah.
So we stuck around for maybe 5 minutes. It's like, okay, we're out of here. We even drunk, stoned, or whatever. We're getting out of here.
Mhm.
I mean, who wasn't doing that?
Yeah, back in the teen years, yeah. But we won't talk about that though. We're
Mhm.
grown-ups now. So. And let me see. We also have Paul here that made
Paul
a
made it.
comment. Interest that they make you rethink. Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of changes our perspective
really
of where we may lie on the food chain, so to speak.
yeah, it does. It really, really does.
Because there's a lot of people that go missing every year, and especially in the Appalachian region, there's a lot of underground tunnel systems. There's thousands of miles
Yeah.
of them, and people go missing, and it's a lot of real estate for creatures to live in that we may not see very often, and
Yeah.
it's a lot to explore. They've only explored, I think, 2 or 3% of them.
Yeah. Another story is probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. When we lived in Colorado, we was out there by the sand dunes, and a friend of mine was driving from the sand dunes to. She lives off grid, and we saw something coming out of the ditch with long arms. I mean, these are long arms. She said it was a slender man, which people
She was
says is
thinking it
like
was
a modern
like
day.
a rake. She was thinking it was like a rake, like
Yeah.
the pale man with the
pale crawler.
Yeah.
I think that's what she called it, something like that. Yeah. So that's only 2 things I came probably close to and survived. So
We had I was driving with my partner from here in Nebraska up to rural South Dakota to visit our in-laws, and we were driving along the back roads to go into town, and this deer like jumps the ditch and goes into the field and then comes back out, but it's got a floppy neck and it's weaving in and out, and then this thing comes out that's not quite right for a deer, and it jumped across the road. We managed to stop in time, but that's really the only encounter I've had is at a drive by with a Wendigo. Gross. They look gross. Nasty, gross thing. And we just looked at each other and goes, I don't know what the hell that was, but I'm getting out of this country road.
If a deer's running around with a flopping neck, that's not normal.
No. It's like I don't know. Nope.
No.
It shouldn't be able to run, first of all.
No.
No.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even be moving.
The
Nope.
the not deer has that kind of weird neck
it
and
was like-
legs.
I think it was probably a Wendigo that wasn't quite or in process of changing form, if not.
Well, did it look like a deer that was deformed? Because that's more of a not deer. No, it looked like a two-legged thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more Wendigo then, because a not deer just looks like a deformed deer.
Mhm.
Well, the show we did last night, they were talking about, Brian was talking about the deer woman.
Yeah, the deer woman's really cool too.
Never heard of that one.
That's apparently very prevalent in
yes,
Oklahoma for some reason.
Yeah, Oklahoma and up through Plains Indian Territory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never heard of that either, but I tuned in last night because it came up since I subscribed to your channel, and it came up, and I'm like, I interviewing Jeff tomorrow. I might as well just listen to this again. and, and when you talk
I
about
hope
that,
you were able to stay awake because it was a long one.
I think halfway through it. So, but I heard you talking about the deer woman, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I never knew that existed at all.
There's a lot. There's one in Colorado that's like a land whale that comes down and like eats the
Oh, the
fork
boulder?
like trees. Yeah.
Boulder slider guy, yeah. It literally
some
looks like a
cool
whale
ones.
on the side of a mountain. Yeah.
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 There's some cool ones. And then I'm stuck here with the fur-bearing trout and Wendigo skinwalkers. I think we have the Thunderbird, and there's a couple others here, but
A
there's
lot of people have actually seen Thunderbirds.
yeah.
Wow.
It kind of goes into our next question. In your opinion, what is the most famous or well-known cryptid?
Bigfoot.
Let's say Bigfoot or Mothman, I think,
I'd-
as far as America
Yeah.
goes.
I mean, most of the younger generation has no clue what Loch Ness Monster is. And, that was a big one too. But
Mhm.
I'd say Bigfoot. Although Dogman has grown in popularity since the 80s. So,
Yeah. Because I've heard a lot of stories. We have the black dog out here, which may be kind of a version of the Dogman,
Yeah.
or it could just be a Grim. I'm not sure, but it's a trucker legend. You see
there's
the.
also varieties of Bigfoot,
Mhm.
depending on where you are.
Oh yeah, because I was just reading about it's called the Big Hoot. It's supposed to be a huge owl. It's supposed to be a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I don't really know much
I
about
only know the gravedigger owl, and there's another white owl with black spikes on his shoulder, but I can never pronounce it. So I don't. It starts with a K. It's like
Mhm.
K or something.
Yeah, I have to give the crown to the hide and seek champion of the world.
I would say Bigfoot and then Mothman, because there's some people that don't know Mothman, but I don't know anyone that doesn't know Bigfoot or a version of it.
Well, we even had a version of the Loch Ness Monster here.
Yeah, there's yep.
Chessie.
Up in the lakes, the Great Lakes.
Well, here in Maryland, in the Chesapeake Bay, we had Chessie, which was
Is that what's the one the The other one is that the one that is it a Lake Champagne or something?
Champy. Yeah.
Champion. Yeah, that one.
Champagne.
Yeah, that's the other one I know.
It seems like every
Yeah.
big lake used to have their own lake monsters. or
Yeah,
something.
then the Great Lakes have Bessie, which is supposed to be another Loch Ness type.
Yeah, Champlain was Champy.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
Champy,
that's the one I know.
Bessie,
Nessie was
and then
Chesapeake
Nessie.
Bay.
Mhm.
I would say it'd probably be Bigfoot, Mothman, and Dogman. I would say.
Dogman is really up there in popularity now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably just as much sightings of those things as there are. Well, in Maryland, I don't know who came up with this name, but in Maryland, it's called the Dueo.
That's right. Yeah. I heard of that.
Yeah, that's the Maryland name for it. And then I don't know if it was a native name. I'd have to look. I'd have to do some research on that. We're still getting off the ground here. It's only been about a year, so we're
Nico, we have
all got full-time jobs. I farm all day, and then I come in here and try to look at stuff and not fall asleep unless my kid's here. So, it's
Nico, we had a couple of comments here from Blackie.
yep.
Makes you wonder why Native Americans drew these creatures and believed they were real. Did they exist, or were they erased by history for some unknown reason? I believe they drew what they saw. I think that because we have cave drawings in other parts of the world of like mammoths and dinosaurs, and I think part of it was the retelling of oral stories of like times past for some of them, but there's some pretty damning evidence of like pterodactyls or thunderbird-like creatures, very large hawks, whatever, of things like that continuing to exist up until the late 1800s. There's some interesting hunting photos of people with those. And then Bigfoot stories have been around for ages. There's a Cherokee myth that's kind of similar to Bigfoot, which is about a ginger variety. But
there's several colors of them.
Oh yeah, there's and then of course you have like the little people of the Lakota that live in the mountains, the ant people in the Pueblo areas, the Pukwudgies of I think Michigan, which are really really cool. But it's hard to say because there's, as somebody who really enjoys folklore, I have to be analytical of it at a certain point of, is this just a legend that became larger than life? Or is this like, are these creatures real, or are they real in the same way that ghosts are? And it kind of depends on your perspective on things. Because like for me, some of the things are very much physical and very much here. Others are, this is a spirit in a way. Like the Mothman, like I don't know if I would personally say the Mothman was like a physical entity or just like some kind of spirit. But like Sasquatch, that's more of a physical thing in my mind.
Yeah.
Now, have there been any cryptids ever found at all, and kind of like I don't know, like show and tell, like sometimes aliens,
There's been 3 that I know of. Gorillas were one. Gorillas, okapi, and I think it's the coelacanth. It's a big fish that's supposed to be, they live really old. There's a Pokemon named after it.
Is that the blue one?
Yeah, they're like a blue-gray.
Yeah. They're huge.
And those were all classified as cryptids at one point, and they're real creatures. My local zoo here has okapi. They're kind of a tiny giraffe crossed with a zebra horse. They look weird, but it's a real creature. Yep, somebody in the comment got it. It was like, don't ask me.
The tiniest deer that looks like a cryptid.
This one.
Oh yeah, there's the god, I know the one you're talking about too. They're adorable.
They are adorable. I'll take one of those home.
Are you talking about the one of those Chinese deer? Is it the Dick? Is that one of the
Yeah,
other?
yeah, I think it's the Dick.
Yeah.
They
There's
just look
there's
little
several. The
cute.
muntjac, and then actually there's a Japanese version which we have here in Maryland that lives on the Eastern Shore that some rich guy imported years ago, and he had an island that he had exotic animals he used to hunt, and the damn thing flooded, and they all figured out that they could swim, and they swam into the Eastern Shore, and they've been down there ever since then.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're called Sika deer.
Wow.
Kind of how Florida has a monkey population now.
Oh, also
Yes,
the
they do.
jackalope is supposed to
Yep.
be the one with the growths coming out of
Yes.
his head.
Jackalope's the rabbit with deer horns.
Yeah, with the it's like a fungus, I believe. But it looks like real horns coming out, so that's probably most likely where that came from. But
We
still
also
cute.
have Goat Man.
I did hear about the goat man. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned it one time, and there's so many out there. I mean, do you know how many cryptids are really out there in numbers?
Oh God.
I mean, different brands or different types. I mean,
Well, it's tough because each state will see something and they'll name it their own thing, but it's the same thing seen by another state. But
like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. There's actually a really good, if you ever go on Etsy, this woman has them by state, like a poster by state, and it's pretty cool to see how many there are. And there's a lot, but some of them look similar. Like the Kentucky goblin I'm sure is all over the place.
I know there's over 50 in the U.S. I just couldn't give you an exact number
Oh.
because I know each state, like, there's at least one for each state, and then some states have multiples, and then some of them are like really silly, some of them are like more of a serious creature, and then that's just America. That doesn't include things like yokai in Japan. It depends on like what you classify exactly as a cryptid, and like where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in a fight with somebody that said Jersey Devils weren't. And I was like, nope, they are.
So what's the strongest one you think?
Physically, like as far as like
I want to say Loch Ness, maybe.
like because Bigfoot's supposed to be like incredibly horrendously strong by a lot of accounts, and move fairly quickly. The Wampus Cat's supposed to move at like 60 miles an hour or something.
And supposedly can read your mind.
Oh, wow.
Pukwudgies are supposed to be absolutely horrifying if you piss them off.
Which one is it?
The Pukwudgie. They're Michigan. They're like little fae. They're little fuzzy critters, and
they're kind of cool looking.
Throw rocks at you and will try to take things from you. Typical fae behavior.
Sounds like the Albatwitch over here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
But they aren't. They don't abide by typical fae rules of, they have to be invited in or whatnot. So they will just follow you into your house and just wreak havoc. And
well, you have the Tommy knockers, which are supposedly the spirits of those miners that died in cave-ins, and then they're either mischievous where they can hide your tools, or they can knock to warn you that there's going to be a cave-in. So those are kind of,
as far as I would argue and say probably between Mothman and Sasquatch for America, because you could argue that Mothman doesn't necessarily just warn of like calamities, but may possibly cause them.
Yeah, so that was the thing, right?
Mothman causes them, yes. Yeah. If he just warns of them, I would say Bigfoot would win. But if he can directly cause giant catastrophes, that would be an interesting fight I'd watch. Because Bigfoot's
I always thought of him more as a warning, because he stays around before for a while. It's not like he comes in, causes it, and goes. He kind of it's usually like what, a week or more
Yeah,
before.
it's like a week to a month, I think.
So, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know.
Jeff, what do you think? What's the strongest one? You,
Well, I'd have to go with the big guy.
the Bigfoot?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think me too. Yeah, I'm the same. Let's catch up with some comments here.
I'm trying to, it's doing some goofy stuff. I've been trying to read it.
Let me see. So, Blackie, Nick, you want to read that?
The coelacanth,
I don't know what that is.
that's the fish that I was talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
The
supposed to
coelacanth, I
be,
think,
yeah,
is what it is.
it was supposed to be extinct, and then we've
Yeah,
rediscovered
they were
it.
eating them off the island of Madagascar or something.
Uh-huh.
And
And then Christopher talks about the goat man in Indiana. And let's see here.
Goat Man of Maryland was known to carry an axe, supposedly.
Okay, how about fairies?
So fairies, so like the Puckwudgie being fairies, I could absolutely like that. That's where I would more classify them as, but they are classified as a cryptid. But it depends on fairies from where, and because some fairies are just fun little tricksters, and then you have like the Tuatara, which are gods and deities who have a much larger power scaling.
yeah,
In
they do
that
list the
case-
will o' the wisps as cryptids.
Yeah, in that case, I would definitely go for the Fae, because there's a lot of creation and destruction forces. Because even Merlin's listed in the Mabinaki as like a way of being a human who entered the Fae realm. I mean, anything that can like steal you into a pocket dimension is kind of terrifying. Like, just absolutely. I don't know if I'd rather be torn apart by a Sasquatch or like taken off into a pocket dimension for God knows what. There's a lot of stories about Fae doing all kinds of things to people. So
As they say, sometimes death is better.
yeah, let's say there's I think it's Johnny Redcoat or no Johnny Redhead. He doesn't dye his hat; he dips it in people juice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll stick with Bigfoot. Thanks.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, that's why I stick with Bigfoot and Dogman. Even though I don't really like Dogman, at least I can defend against those two if I have to.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Dogman, now, a lot of people always has this. I know when I first went to the Facebook group, the Cryptid Wrangler.
Yeah, which is how I found you.
Yeah.
Same.
And it's a very interesting group. I think the first question I asked, because I watched a movie called Dogman, and I was like, oh my gosh, just kind of watching it was fascinating. So what's the difference or similarities between a dogman and a werewolf?
Well, from what I know, dogmen are just one thing. They can't change. Werewolves have the ability to change.
How about, I think somebody was saying something about like the ears, like the dogman's ears was pointed up.
Yeah, and I think werewolves look a little more muscular.
Muscular.
Also, werewolves don't always have fur all over their body.
No.
But a dogman usually is fur from top to
Dogman
bottom.
just looks like the same as it does all the time.
Just a dog that walks
Well,
on two legs.
It depends on the folklore that you get werewolf
Now
from.
they can walk on four,
Oh.
which is how, from what I've learned from other people, that because I'm not that well versed in it, but I'm trying to get.
If you ever have to come across a cryptid, which one would you come across to then feel?
Well, I'm pretty sure I've been in between both of them. I think I've experienced both of them, so I would say I'd rather deal with Bigfoot.
Of all cryptids or between dogman and werewolf?
No, all cryptids.
I'm gonna stick with my squonk.
I'm just gonna go with Bigfoot.
I'm just gonna sit in the woods and cry with them, and then that's all I have to worry about.
I think I would either like a positive interaction with puckwidgies, or if I'm out in Germany, I think seeing a tasselworm would be very interesting. They're one of my favorites. Just a
That'd
big,
be cool.
fluffy ferret dragon. Like, sounds
Watch
absolutely
out for
adorable.
the toxic breath, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
I always say Bigfoot. I'll probably treat Bigfoot like a big teddy bear. Maybe.
Right.
Probably not. I'll probably go the other way, but
Just
I was
imagine
like-
Chrissy trying to ride the thing. Like, get a piggyback from it.
yeah, let's have a piggyback ride. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
if
I
I
can
could
make-
pay
I can make
Bigfoot to
friends
do
with
farm
everybody.
work for me, I would.
Yeah, if I can make friends with everybody, so yeah, I bet I can make friends with Bigfoot in due time. So you would see me
Right.
riding his back, piggyback, going, "Yeah, let's go!" And yeah,
What they
It's a great image.
it's a nice stream, right? Carissa, you have. Is it a comic book that you do on cryptids?
Yes, it's a supernatural western. And it has supernatural hunters that have to research and track down cryptids. They have to get certain ingredients from them without killing them, such as fur from Bigfoot, and tears from a squonk, and a claw from chupacabra, stuff like that. And in the comic book, which has just started, issue 1 ended. We had a really great run. We sold 330 copies on the first
Wow.
Kickstarter, which is my best yet. And you can collect the jars that she does. So I'm gonna have like jars for like the fang of a werewolf, and you can collect it along with her. And then that goes into where I have the cryptid of the month, are all the ones that are in the comic book. So I think the first one's the Wendigo, and then there's a Jersey Devil or Leeds Devil, and Mothman, of course, because you need Mothman, and stuff like that. But yeah, I started like not that long ago. I have another series that's a horror that's got like zombies and stuff like that. And that's been going for 2 years. We're on issue 13. This one I just started. I think I started writing it during the summer, and there's about 20 issues written. And issue 2 is literally the last 2 pages. So, but it's a lot of fun. I have certain cryptids that are neutral. I have some that are, evil. Like I think in the last page of my issue 1, Bigfoot and Wendigo are fighting. And in 2, you see in the background, the Jersey Devil is fighting the dragon cat, which looked awesome. Like my artist did an amazing job. If anyone's interested, you can search Worthy Chaos on Google or Kickstarter. I launch every other month. April 14th would be issue 2, where you can get issue 1 and issue 2. We're going to have 4 new plushies. We're going to have the original Wendigo. We're going to have Bigfoot. We're going to have the dragon cat, because I'm not pronouncing that word. We're going to have the Mothman and the Jersey Devil. So there's going to be a lot of new plushies. Do I have my Jersey Devil? I have so many. Here's my one of my Wendigos. But yeah, I have my Jersey Devil somewhere. But yeah, so if anyone wants to check that out, you could. But yeah, it's one of my favorite. I did all these research every time. The only thing that's not, and there's a reason why, but the only thing that's not to, I want to say, to scale is they're like locations, because we have like a portal that they go through, because obviously they're not going to travel to like to run into these things. But it's kind of cool to write in the 1800s, because you don't have cell phones, you can't research it. She keeps a journal that she writes in whenever she encounters. I don't know if anyone watches Supernatural, but
I did.
Kind of based off the Hunter
I don't
logs.
watch much TV.
yeah, like I have these journals that people buy, and they can collect the pages of whatever cryptid she runs into during that issue. Then they get a free page of that with a little bit of information on it. And every time they're in there, there's more information added to the journal. So it was kind of fun to do that.
That's really
but
cool.
I had a lot of fun, but I learned so much. Like
Yeah.
it started this whole rabbit hole of, like I went to cryptology classes like decades ago and things like that, but I never like dove into it, but delving into this one, I would have to be like, all right, they're in a cave. What's in a cave? And I'm like, okay, you got Tommy knockers and Jersey devils in there. And I mean, Squonk was not a cryptid I had seen or heard of before. But yeah, so it's kind of cool to learn all of these things. And I always look it up right when I'm writing about them so that I can, get all the facts straight and all that stuff. And the Wampus Cat, they fight the Wampus Cat and tries to control their mind and all that cool stuff. So I try to be as accurate as possible.
I definitely have to look it up and put into our Facebook group within the Cauldron. So a link or something so they can look it up too as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And Jeff, how about your YouTube channel? Now you have Brian and Dave, right? Is with you on the YouTube?
Jerry and David.
Oh, okay, Jerry and Dave. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
Brian was the one that we had on last night.
Oh, okay.
I put the link in the private chat if you wanted to post it.
Yeah, go ahead. I can put it in the comments.
I don't know what was going on with chat earlier. It was kind of weird. It was like freezing or something. I don't know what was doing.
Yeah, I think oops, I just put it into the wrong. Back in there. Here we go. There you go. Put it in the comments.
Thank you.
And I would keep that link too.
Yeah. And if anyone forgets the link, like I said, just search Worthy Chaos. I'm the only thing that pops up. You could do Worthy Chaos Western because I might get you better. But Worthy Chaos is the easiest thing to remember, and that pops up. So, but thank you.
Oh,
yeah. So Jerry and I started, and Jerry actually lives like 5 miles from me. So we got actually, of all things, we never even knew each other. I knew plenty of people that knew him, and we actually met through another chat room on a Bigfoot channel, and I had been in there, watching, and for years I never commented on anything, and finally last year, one night after I was having a couple too many beverages, I was on the I was watching, and I made a comment to who's now one of a good friend of ours now, but one of their channels, and they got back to us the next day and said, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" So I went on Woodwalkers, and Jerry had actually him and Spencer been talking about coming on, and after I did the show that week, he saw me on there. He's like, he sent Spencer a message and goes, "Hey, where's he from?" And he goes, "Well, he's over in your neck of the woods." And he goes, "Where?" And because I was saying Glasgow Road, and he's like, and he told him, he's like, "I know exactly where he is." And
cool.
His cousins used to actually help farm this place years ago. And so I didn't even know that I knew people that knew him. And then we started doing this, and we had started out with another third guy, but that kind of fell apart. So we ended up talking to our friend David, who we met through the podcast with Spencer on Woodwalkers, and he'd done several other shows because he's out in Oregon. So now he's our third guy.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen a few shows beforehand, and then I caught the one last night too. It just came up, And I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah, we usually do Tuesdays, and then sometimes we'll do our random weekend show, which we call Beards and Boogers.
yes, I saw that.
It's whenever Jerry doesn't feel like he's burnt out from doing at least 2 to 3 shows already during the week, because between Tuesday night he does his real podcast, which he does for a living. He does the tractor pulling videos, but he does a podcast for that on Wednesdays. And then sometimes on Thursdays they do the antique tractor podcast, which is, they don't do that every week, but by the time he does those 3, and then if we do another one, that's 4 a week. And
Oh
the
wow.
way our schedules are, it's like
Yeah.
I'm only there for 2 of them. He's there for all 4. So
Oh
I'm exhausted doing one. I actually moved it to once a month because I was just like, I'm too tired.
I
We
tell you,
we do about 2 or 3 a week, but with the podcast team that we have, there's 7 of us, so sometimes we get dragged in to help them out. So we can do one almost every day of the week sometimes, and
it gets exhausting.
yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah.
Jeff, I had a question. Are you going to any of the Bigfoot conferences in Tennessee?
No, I have a lot of friends out there, and this year, at some point, I'm going to get down there.
I'm going to be tabling at the one in Gatlinburg. There's another one in Tennessee.
You thinking McMinnville?
Yeah, I think I'm going to that one, but I missed one. There was one that was a Bigfoot. It was outside, and I'm not comfortable doing outside festivals, but there's a lot of Bigfoot outside festivals. So I'm going to have to do it next, but then you have to bring your own table and do all that stuff. But this will be my first year doing any cryptid conventions. I'm doing the Lexington one. Have you been to the Lexington one before?
No, see, we just got started into doing this last year, and before I never even done I haven't done any of the conventions. I'm not much of a convention person. So I'm more planning on doing like camp outs with these people so we can actually get out in the woods.
I think one of them has a Bigfoot walk. I don't know if it's camping, but they have like Bigfoot hike or something, but I can't remember which one.
Well, I'm gonna do at least one specific Bigfoot camp out above in Michaud, which is in Gettysburg this year, and then the week before that I'll be up in Western Maryland again, trying to run into the big fella if
we actually had a Bigfoot sighting here apparently,
really?
like 5 miles from my house. I didn't see it, but someone posted on Facebook that they saw it and they were going to go into the woods looking for it. But if you do get a chance, I heard that the Lexington, I'm going to be tabling this year in November, but I heard that the Lexington, Kentucky Cryptid convention is one of the largest.
Yeah.
Not as large as obviously like West Virginia.
I think they're having one. I got friends in Alabama, and I think they're having one not far from there. There's going to be one in Forest County, PA, which I'm going to go to. They do a few different ones in PA, but after, knowing some of the people I know now, I know who to deal with and who not to deal with. So,
well, Jeff, we have somebody who is asking you a question. Will?
No, Will, I did not make it to Hollins.
Okay. Now, I know you both are in the East Coast, right? Maryland and Tennessee, yeah. Have you guys ever considered looking for cryptids in the Midwest?
Oh yeah, we have quite a few.
Yeah, we do.
If I ever get time to go out that way,
I don't go looking.
I don't go looking either. But I got some really good friends that I made last year that live in Alabama, and some of them are big into the subject. And it wouldn't be hard for me to go to some pretty pretty active to the point where I could probably just pull in there and something would happen.
Oh yeah, there's my states are most of the Midwest is in like upper Bigfoot territory, but then there's an Omaha Indian legend of oh god, what is it? It's Setonga, which is supposed to be like a version of Bigfoot, if not Bigfoot. Um, and then we have other cryptids here too. I think there some guy reported, or our last cryptid report for Bigfoot was last year, October 2024. There's a huge garden out here called Laurentian Gardens, and I think it's about a 30-acre like horticulture garden center that's kind of connected to the zoo here, and they had a Bigfoot sighting in the area, and 7 foot tall, big hairy ape thing, and there was a couple sighting reports of it there, and I didn't. That was the first time of me hearing that it was up this far. Because like I've heard of it like on the coasts, like down further south, but never like up here in Nebraska.
Now, I know I live in Iowa. Nico lives in Nebraska, and we live in the southeast part of Iowa. We had a campground. It's the same campground / park that the prom night happened. And also, there's been some sightings of Bigfoot there too. And something that has the big cows. It was a bunch of cows that was slaughtered, and something that maybe coyotes or something must tore it up though. But
I
it
think it was Dogman.
but it was something different,
It was Dogman.
bigger. And when my husband went, I think they went on night fishing, and they saw.
No, we was doing bad boys.
They were just doing bad. Okay, they was doing bad boys things. He said. So, but they went to this barn, and they had like glowing eyes that was on top of a haystack, and all of a sudden it's just like it just stepped down. Not jump, just step down. And did it chase you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it chased him him and 2 other guys, where they came across
It
the
just me and Bill.
okay, to another guy.
Go ahead,
Okay, it was just another guy. Okay, he's here just telling me. And they ran into some cows that was slaughtered and everything. Later, he said he heard it was a dogman or
No,
a
it's the only thing
Bigfoot
it could be.
that they thought it could be. So,
It's the only
but
thing it could be.
Iowa is very popular with cryptids too, as well. If you guys ever come here,
Yeah.
so
I
we
think
have.
you've got some aggressive Bigfoot in Iowa.
I don't know what it is, but we have something. But we do have. Let me see. We have a comment from Christopher. Does South Fork, Ohio, still put on any conventions?
I know they do campouts. I'm not sure about conventions.
Okay.
Like
And,
I haven't really gotten into the whole convention thing. So
okay. And the
Chris,
Will
I
was
found out.
asked pretty much the same thing. I am in New Orleans, and
Yeah.
in the
yeah, he's
Alabama.
right there on the Alabama Gulf Coast.
And then Light says, "Have you heard anything about class sighting outside the Houston, Texas area?"
I've heard of a lot of stories about stuff in Texas.
So,
I think there's
A lot
a
of stories about Texas.
Bigfoot conference in Ohio.
I
But
think most states have one.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if this is the same one I'm doing. I know
I think we have a festival, but I don't remember when they. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't.
it says Ohio Bigfoot Salt Fork May
Yeah.
3rd. So
May
Ohio
3rd.
Bigfoot Conference State Fork. So it's coming up May 3rd weekend. There you go. The Salt Fork State Park Lounge, Conference Center. I've never been there, but there you go.
I'd rather go camp out and look for them than have to go sit at a conference.
Yeah, I'm
May
the complete
3rd.
opposite. I'd rather go to the convention and buy another plushie than to go into the woods. That's just me.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's all about living on the edge.
You guys need to
I
come
don't
to
like
the
being
Midwest.
around a ton of people at one time either, so I'd rather go listen to something creeping up on me in the woods.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You all need to come out to the Midwest and have a convention out here.
There
Yeah.
is one. There's one in my state. So apparently
I
in Omaha there is a Bigfoot museum at one of the malls.
Nice.
That,
Oh, that's
and,
right. Hocking Hills,
There's actually a
Ohio.
museum in Gatlinburg too, but I should go. I haven't gone yet, and it's not that far from me.
But the lady that owns the museum also does a Bigfoot conference,
Nice.
Wow.
and I
I'm
think there
excited
might
to
be
go to
one in
them this
Iowa,
year.
too.
I really would like to go to one. I
I
think
think
it'd
it'd be
be,
interesting.
yeah, that would be interesting and everything.
I kind of want to go to a Mothman
I'm
festival.
actually going to
That
one
sounds like
this
fun.
year.
You got to go to the West Virginia one though, because if you're gonna go, you got to go to the.
Oh
if
yeah,
I
I
do
want
an
to go
outside
see.
one, that's what's gonna make me do an outside festival. Is have to do the Mothman festival.
I want a picture with the Mothman statue. Somebody, I think last year, started giving the Mothman statue money between its cheeks, and I find it absolutely hilarious. I've just been seeing pictures of the Mothman booty with like dollar bills and coins shoved in there, and it's
Wow.
fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Make him a
didn't put a-
stripper or something.
They didn't put like a
It's
pet,
better-
they didn't put like a G string on it or something.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
was
it's better than what people were previously doing. They were during I want to say a year or two ago, they were leaving mountains of cans of baked beans because somebody decided that the Mothman really liked baked beans. And it got to the point where the mayor had to be like, please stop giving Mothman baked beans. Our food, like they were donating the cans to
Especially if
the.
you're gonna put money over there, that baked beans and
Yeah.
back there don't really match.
They were donating the baked beans to the food pantries. And they got to the point where they're like, all we have is beans. Please stop.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds
Oh,
terrible.
it does. Jeff, what's up in the upcoming episodes of Old Line Cryptids?
Well, I'm working on a list of people. Actually going to try to get Vic Cundiff soon from Dogman Encounters. We're working on trying to find more local stuff. Whoever I can pick up along the way to do shows with. I mean, I've got several people that want to come on right now. Just lining everybody up is kind of can be a pain sometimes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
we got some people that we didn't cover half the stuff that they've got, so we gotta get them back on, and we're just gonna keep doing our thing and trying to find more. The problem with this is sometimes you might be grasping for straws trying to get guests.
Mm-hmm.
Or people that have had encounters or investigators. Sometimes stuff just starts falling into your lap.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it was with us when we first started. It's like everybody knows we had a podcast. Everybody was willing to come on and everything. Now it's like the summer is coming up. It's like everybody's going to different things, during the summer vacations, conventions, etc. So
and things are going to get a little slow here because Jerry videos tractor pulls like the big hot rod ones for a living, and he goes all over the East Coast sometimes. And sometimes, well, a couple of weeks ago, we had to skip one because he had to leave Wednesday morning to go do a video pull for like 5 days.
Dang.
And they were, yeah.
Wow.
So he was out there working for a while, and he was actually in Virginia in an area it's got some activity. But he said he thought he heard some stuff the one night he was out there and everything was shut off, but it was way off in the distance. But we got some stuff coming up. We're trying to local encounter stories are such a I don't even I could go into a whole rant about trying to get people that I know have good encounters, but trying to talk them into coming on. I don't even know how to describe that. That's like, trying to pull teeth. Some people just, oh, we got stories, and then they tell them. I'm like, well, would you like to tell them on air? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Then they never call you back. Then you'll have them scheduled. Then they just get cold feet at the last minute. And I'm thinking, how many people on YouTube that are listening to this have any clue who you are? I can give you a fake name. I can turn the camera off. We don't have to get all crazy.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
not
run
like,
into similar too.
Yeah.
And we don't tolerate trolls. So if anybody starts anything in the chat room, they're out of there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nico does that. He's our strong man. He's our bouncer.
Let's just say that I've got the wrench for several channels now because they were having so much trouble with people swooping in there, and it's like, if you guys handed me a wrench, I could catch it before.
Yep. Oh, it's so satisfying though.
Oh, it is. It's fun.
Oh, cool.
Or
Well,
they'll try
Nico,
talking.
do you have any more questions for our guests?
Not that I can think of.
It's been awesome time with you
Yeah.
guys. Really
Oh yeah,
has.
this has been fun.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of my, better subjects. I like cryptids. And Corissa, I want your animals, or I want your plushies. I want your plushies. What do you call them?
I know I got a birthday coming up. I think I'm going to be adding a couple of those to my my birthday list.
Yeah.
Me, man. I love you guys.
And if you guys ever want me to come back on for anything, I could even try to get the other guys.
Oh, that'd
That
be
would
cool.
be really awesome because we're doing 2 other sessions with 4 other people in the Facebook group, the Cryptid Wrangler. And we can always do another session, the 4th session with you and the guys too. Yeah, I mean,
Gary's schedule's kind of crazy, so I could probably get David.
Okay, that'd be awesome. If you guys want to come on, you're more than welcome.
Yep.
Just message me and says, "Hey,
And
let's do
I'm
something."
sure I'll have something. I could have something else to talk about, or I might remember something I forgot because I forget all sorts of stuff. So
Oh yeah. Like I think I got to dig through my camera roll because I think one of my friends a while ago sent me some pretty good pictures of the Mothman, like flying, and I'm sitting there like, I was thinking about it as we were talking about this, and I was like, I have those somewhere. Where are they?
yeah, I'll have to try to dig up some of the photos of tree breaks and stuff that I have, but
That would be interesting. That really would be interesting.
And another interesting thing, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this, but for whatever reason, they have a fascination with anything blue. I don't know what it is. I've heard it from several researchers, and I even found a couple of examples of it. And there's the state park Well, actually, it's a state forest and a state park next to each other in the next county. That's on a peninsula, and it's got a dump on one side. Well, they find all of these blue balloons out in the middle of the state forest. That's like, what's it, almost 4,000 acres or something
Wow.
like that. And my dad will probably tell me I'm wrong on the numbers. I'd have to go look. But he grew up over there. But anyway, I was with one of the guys that researches there, and they found like 5 to 6 different size tracks, so they know there's like a family that's in
Ooh.
there. And the casts are pretty cool. He's got some pretty good casts. And he's like, yeah, we find a lot of blue balloons in there. And I'd heard other people talk about that. So the
That's
day I
interesting.
actually went in there with him, we found one. And it was just in a random spot. And there was a broken stick that had the blue string tied around it, and it was deflated. It was laying on the ground.
Wow.
And I found several, tree manipulations there where it looked like something had just taken its hand and, broke it.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't like a person snapping a twig. I'm talking, stuff that's that big around. So no humans just grabbing that and snapping
True.
it as a marker. But I also found the weirdest thing, a duck egg, a big duck egg. And I know this because I raise ducks and chickens. And it looked like something had took its thumbnail and stuck it in the side of the egg and then just sucked the egg out of it.
Wow.
Rude.
And I was going to bring the egg home, and I sat the egg down to do something, and I stepped on the damn thing.
That'd be my luck. That's what I probably would do.
I still got the balloon out in the garage.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
a pretty cover.
I just saw it sit next to me. I was like, oh, I can check.
Huh.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, I actually met one of my favorite authors. I had him on the show, D.A. Roberts, who does a lot of the cryptid books, and he does a lot of the Western, like the Bigfoot stuff. And I mean, he's the man is such a good writer. He could write about paint drying, and I'd probably buy the book.
That is
9:30. Oh, it's 9:30 for me. I guess it's 8:30 for you guys.
Yeah, you guys.
We
you guys
actually
gotta do
have
a meeting.
we actually have a podcast meeting with
Yep.
our team. But you know what? Thank you guys for coming
Yeah.
on.
Thanks for having me on.
It was great. We
Thank
have to do this again, most definitely. And subscribe to Within the Cauldron.
Yep.
Also, Old Line Cryptids too as well. And
Yep.
look up Worthy Chaos too.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you guys.